Hello everybody! Today we're going to learn how to make the Burgers app using Sequelize. I can create a burger, I can devour the burger, and it will forever go into the ghosts of burgers past. Okay, so what we're going to do to make this app is start with the previous homework where we made the same app using SQL and a manual ORM. This time we're going to Sequelize it. So let's take a look at our skeleton. So first we have our config folder. This has our connection.js and our ORM. This will be replaced by the config file that's created by the Sequelize command line interface. Next, we have our burgers controller. We're going to be replacing these queries that are in SQL or that we're referencing our ORM that we wrote in SQL with Sequelize queries. Next, we have our database folder, which has our schema and our seeds. These files are going to be replaced by the built-in functionality of Sequelize. It really does make our lives a lot easier. Next, we have our model. This is requiring in the ORM and referencing it while creating our burger object. This model we're going to recreate using Sequelize syntax. Next, we have our public folder. This has our styling and our image that we're using in the background. This will remain the same. Our views will remain the same as well. This is our layout using our handlebars template where we include some bootstrap and we have all of the handlebars to populate the devoured burgers looking kind of ghostly on the side and our new burgers ready to be devoured on the left. Our package.json, we're just going to have to include Sequelize and Sequelize CLI as well. And our server.js is going to be pretty much the same, but we're going to need to reference our models and be sure to sync our models. Let's start by adding Sequelize and Sequelize CLI into our package.json. So we've added Sequelize and Sequelize CLI and run an npm install to make sure all of our dependencies are in our node modules folder. Next, we're going to initialize Sequelize inside this folder. Let's look and see what it's created. First, it created our config folder with our config.json. I changed my database name to burger because that's the one that I created inside MySQL, and I'm leaving username as root and password as null. Models automatically created our index.js file. If you want to know more about this, feel free to read the Sequelize Getting Started guide that is in 15.2. But just know index makes a lot of things really easy for us. Next, we need to create burgers.js inside our models folder. Now we're going to go ahead and create our burger model. Notice that I left the associate function model class method there. If we wanted to associate the burger with some other model that we created, we would put the associations here. Otherwise, I just leave it blank, but keep it there in case I want to change my app later. Next, I require in my model so that my server knows they're around. And last but not least, I sync my Sequelize models. Now the last thing I need to do is change my controller file from referencing the old ORM that I had handwritten and change that to the Sequelize, like find all. All right, so here's what we've done. We've said instead of referencing the ORM, which we deleted, so that would throw an error, we're going to use Sequelize. So in our database, get the burger model and find all of them. Once you're done doing that, I want you to console.log them and then return the object as a burger and render it in handlebars. I'm commenting out these other ones for the moment so we can test and see if this one is working. Let's see what went wrong. Okay, so first I referenced db.burger in my query, but I named the variable burger, so that's the first problem. I changed the variable name to db. Next, on the require, I was still requiring in the burger model from our previous application structure, and since we have our index.js that Sequelize makes for us that it wants to do so many wonderful things with, we have to just reference the model's folder, which is why we go db.burger so that it knows which model to look for in that folder. All right, so it's displaying the page, but it's not displaying all those burgers that we made in the database. So something must be off in our handlebars. All right, we got it. So in our old handlebars file, we were referencing burgers because that's what we called the variable or the model. But now our model is called burger singular, so we had to change that so it would display everything. Uh-oh, it cannot create. That's because we haven't written that query yet, but it is displaying everything, so our find all is working right. All right, let's see if this create function is working. All we did here was reference our database, then our burger model, and use the sequelize.create method to say whatever the user sends is in their request.body, make that the burger name, and then redirect them to the home page, which will redirect them to the burgers route, which will print out all the burgers. Something's wrong again. Let's go look and see. We console logged result instead of dbburger. Alright, so now it's all working appropriately, except devour it. It doesn't have the put method yet to update this to devoured true and move it into the other column. Let's talk about what we did here. We have our put function where we're updating our burgers, and we use db.burger.update from Sequelize, and we're just updating devoured to true. But we only want to update the ones where the ID matches the ID that's coming back from the request from the user. Then once we're done, we redirect them to the root again so that it can display all of the burgers. All right, let's see if this is working. And it is. We can devour all of our burgers now. We did it, guys. We sequelized our burger app.